Yeah.
Okay.
So we have here Mr. Muhammad Bilal Hassan. He cleared PMP in almost a record time for batch. Less than a month, he joined the batch 13, which kind of ended on 27-28, and he cleared PMP yesterday with all above target. So a fascinating journey for a fascinating professional. So we were before this video, we were having a conversation, and he was saying that from 7th of November, he has got very busy, and things are becoming more and more, what would say, more demanding. And I was saying that that is what is expected from the project manager. But even because of all these things, all the expectations, he kept on moving, he kept on moving, and he got the real thing, the PMP certification, all above target. So Bilal Saab, first of all, congratulations from the entire PMP community. Welcome to the club. And how do you feel? The first thing, how do you feel basically?
Thank you very much, Amir. I would say the credit goes to you because I told you my story that I wanted to do it earlier, but I could not do it. And the I got your success stories through different friends, colleagues, and even through the different social media pages. And once I get through it, I would say, yes, what you have said, you proved it that way. And how do I feel coming to your that question? I would say now, sorry, I feel bit relieved and bit, you can say, it's sort of achievement. It's a happiness that the long-awaited thing that I was trying to accomplish or achieve, I could not do it earlier. So now I have done it. Now I'm more ambitious even for the future endeavors, I would say, because I feel like that I can do more.
That's it. That's the thing, sir. Now, thing is that you should never stop. When you know you can do more, the goal is to do more. You see, I always say when we reach a certain level, okay, then we see, oh, another level is there, another level is
Absolutely
there. And I always say,
true.
bottom is always crowded. It's the bottom. It's the
Mm,
bottom that is always crowded. And when you go high, there are challenges. The multitude of challenges is a lot. But then you real discover this is the real life. This is how we
absolutely.
should live. This is the thing that we need to work on. So Bilal Sahab, let's talk about the batch program. So you came into the batch program. So there were certain things you were doing in the during even the batch while the trainings were going on for 2 weeks. That was fascinating. What you were doing during the batch?
Like the best thing I would say, the exercises, especially the mind maps, that was a quick recap because whatever we have studied or whatever we have gone through in the session, it's a quick recap that you draw it into your own understanding, into your own visual form of display, and then you see, okay, what I missed and what I have learned already over there. And the best thing I would say, Amir, like even during that conversations, I repeatedly mentioned it to you. You act like a doctor. Like when a patient visits to a doctor and the doctor says, "You are fine. It's just a minor problem or the ailment that you have." The the patient already got 50% recovered. So when you say that you don't need to get into the books, you don't need to study the PM Box 6 or the 7 or any other edition. So it for a person like me, it gives you a 50% relief because now I know that where do I have to focus. And then in especially in that area, the way you proceed, the way you conduct the different presentations or the different sort of demonstrations over the whiteboard using your markers, etc., that helps to understand something very quickly. I would say that's the magic. That's the key ingredient.
That's the key ingredient. Thank you, Bilal sir, for saying that. Let's talk about little bit more about roadmap. Now you are done with the 2 weeks training. You
Mhm.
get the roadmap. You did those 50-50-50 question. After 50-50 question, you did the entire 6 mocks. And
Right.
then gave you the full timing. We went to the prepcast. So how was that thing and how we could improve further? What do you think has added into that journey?
See, the I would say like when I was going through the 50 questions exercise, the different set of exercises, and then before we move to the full 4 hours mock, the first set of mocks, uh, while I was doing those mocks, you shared your journey videos, the YouTube link. That helped me a lot. Reason behind it, I do not now, in that case, I do not have to go through the whole slide. I do not have to go through the whole 1 hour or 2 hours video that you keep on uploading on the channels. I quickly go to that 15 minutes, 20 minutes, or 30 minutes video. And even like when I'm going to office, I just switch it on, put my airpods in my ears, and just keep on listening what you are saying. And then I try to recall, okay, what was the terminology or what was the key area that I was missing. So that helped me a lot to, I would say, to improve the area wherever I was doing some mistakes. Like in one of the mock, I remember there was something related to stakeholders. I was like doing one or two areas I was doing wrong, and I had gone through the documents, but since like I was getting short of time, so I preferred to watch that video on my way to office, and continuously for a couple of days. Since my driver drives me to the office, I was sitting on the back seat and just watching your videos. So I kept on doing it. That 1 hour drive, I have to utilize it to watch your videos, and those videos give me a quick recaps, and that helped me a lot in my personal experience. The other thing, like there is one of the chart, the summary chart that you shared, I think day before yesterday on Friday. That is again very good thing.
Last day's profession. I have put few things for last day. Like
Exactly.
many
But
students says to me, then why didn't you give us in the before? Yeah, everything was so on time.
I would say the same thing actually, because it's a very quick recap. You have the whole story in front of you, that how the things flow, what is the initiation, what is the planning in each area of these course, and believe me, and that gives you confidence as well. Like for a person me like me, when he just try to recap it while using that last day chart, I see, okay, I have been through this, I have been through this, and then I applied few my personal techniques, especially for the high power and interest
I would
cube.
love to know those personal technique. Now this they can be something as life changing or something that can add few things in our box and we can further elaborate those things. Please,
I just try to remember their initials, like the force. It was FCW. I meant no, sorry, it was FCSW, because the first one was the force, the next one was the collaborate, and then there is another one, and the last one was the withdraw. I said, okay, now how do I have to draw this cube? I know what I have to put it on the vertical axis and y-axis and on the x-axis, and how this terminology will be translated. So this is what I did. And there was even another area. Now I could not recall it quickly. Even I tried the same technique for that area, because I was getting confused with that one, to remember that in which cube I have to place which value or which terminology.
you kind of made your own mnemonics, right?
Yeah, you can say it. Yes, but I always get confused with that one. So I try to find out a smart way for myself, that instead of always getting confused and redrawing it on the paper, it's better to just remember it this way. Although there wasn't any question, there was one question related to that stakeholder cube as well, but in general, there wasn't any big thing related to that one.
Okay. So let's talk about those six mocks. How much they were relevant to the real exam.
You're talking about the Odeme one.
You have my mocks.
Okay. See, there is quite a relevance, especially with respect to the agile part, if I say, because it addresses lot many similarities in terms of the nature of questions that we face over there, and then there is the quite, I would say, quite good similarity with respect to the teams even, because that were the two areas which I had more in my exam, in my final exam. So I would say it's an early exposure to something that you have to face down the road in your exam, and you keep on practicing, you keep on analyzing your questions. And there is another thing, Amir. Okay, I'm not sure if we are touching base on that one in coming questions. That is related to how you attempt the question. That really helps. Like the trick that you gave, that read the last part and then go to the options, and then there could be one or two options that you can straight away maybe strike through. But when you then, after that, when you read the whole statement, you quickly try know that okay, this option is not applicable here, it is not the scenario at all. The other option, there could be another option that could be straight away strike through. So that helps a lot as well. In one or two questions, I would say that it was like open and shut question, that you just read it and you said okay, this is the only option that could be applicable here. You don't need to even strike through the other options, the three options. But it's not the majority of the questions, only a couple of questions are like that.
Okay, okay. That gives give you an like I am big follower of that. You must have a multiple options to explore
Mhm.
from things how you can do and solving that. And now most important thing, which I am really I'm a fan, or I always say doing root cause analysis. So how much that helped?
That helped a lot. That, believe me, because that actually strikes the real problem area. It's obvious the root cause analysis itself is quite evident, but if you do it that thing correctly, you will understand okay, where I made a mistake. You remember in one of the messages I told you that I made some silly mistakes. And that was the problem, that I identified that I probably missed a keyword while reading the question, and sometimes I altogether forget that what exactly his question is asking. Like it is asking the least option, the least probable option that the project manager may be choosing. I overlooked that word sometimes. So these were the silly mistakes that I kept on making during the mocks. But then I emphasized on it that no, guy, I have to read it. I have to make sure that I read and understood the question clearly before moving to the any other evaluation of the options.
Okay, okay. Now that's an interesting thing to understand, like how we learn from, because you see, even you make thousand mistakes. Some of the
Mhm,
students even go 20% in the mocks, then they go went and get all above target. It does not matter how much you get before, but the real thing that
mhm,
matters is that you get the real score in the real exam. Let's talk
mhm.
about the exam. So your exam was in the center, right?
Right.
So you went to the center, you all after the checking. The first 10 minute was tutorial, right?
Yes, that's correct. That
How
was
did you
tutorial.
manage the most important thing? How did you manage that time afterward?
Uh, I would say, like in the first 60 questions, I was pretty on schedule. The distribution that we discussed even earlier, that for the first 60 questions, I should not go beyond 70 minutes. And that was my target to complete it. But there were a couple of questions because of which I ran 1 minute over than the 70 minutes. And otherwise, like in the beginning for the first 40 questions, I was doing it pretty good, but in the later part of the 20 questions, it was a bit challenging, or the long statements were there in the question, so I have to read it again and again just to understand what the scenario is being mentioned over there. But I would say 1 or 2 minutes is not the big slippage, because if it goes beyond 1 or 2 minutes, then yes, it's going to be a challenging task. Then after the 60 minutes, I took the break, because like you have been guiding us again and again that we must take a break, and I opted for the break. I stretched out during the break, just to make sure that I have a proper blood circulation. Even I did some sort of uh, arms movement just to make sure that I stay fresh. I took my chocolate bites, and had some water as well. And whenever the key, even
Okay.
the same continued after the second
So I
break as
guess
well. the
okay.
key the key thing that I did, that is the one thing that you told me, whenever you are distracted from your exam and you have some other thoughts, I always pinched on
Yeah,
my arm, and it
yes,
worked really.
yeah. Just you told me that you made some kind of mnemonics. Now, actually, I did not made this. One of my student Ram and Ilyas, Ilyas, my
Hmm.
one-to-one student, they told me, sir, whenever we got distraction, we used to pinch yourself. So I have added that into my checklist of
Hmm.
last day calling. So whenever we have a last day calling, I tell my student, okay, do this, do this. These are the important things you must follow. Okay. So, can you please move on?
Yeah, so like these were the tips that I kept on doing it, and in the last section, I would say I finished even 10 minutes before the exam finish, and because
That's
that I did it quickly in the last part. Although during that while doing the last set of 60 questions, I was bit worried because there were going to be very long questions in the statement, and then to find out its option. But I was confident and I made it, I would say.
okay. Okay. So that is a very good thing. Now let's talk about more of the exam. Let's go into depth of exam. Which area was
Mhm.
more highlighted in the exam?
Sorry, can you come again?
Which area was mostly in the exam? Team, stakeholder,
Oh,
communication.
okay. It was more agile.
Okay, more agile. And if we say agile, do you mean XP and other things or only Scrum and agile mindset?
It was Scrum. Primarily, it was all related to the Scrum, and there wasn't any. There was one or two questions related to XP, and they even did not touch anything on the other agile technology techniques. There was one related to the Kanban as well, but nothing other than these three areas.
Okay. So Kanban had one question, right?
Yeah, we had one question.
Okay, okay. What about after Agile? What was the most highlighted thing?
That was team
Team. So
people.
team became team still is there. No, people is team, stakeholder
Oh, sorry, team.
communication,
It's team. It's team.
and then stakeholder communication.
Exactly. The stakeholder and communication that was on the third number. It had the maximum questions in that area.
Okay, and then quality and other things were there. Okay,
They were
so
related to procurement. Couple of questions related to procurement as well, and even the closure of the project, the closing section. There were a couple of questions on that one, but I would say one or two questions like that, not more than that.
not more than that. I totally understand that. Okay, so you can pick the charger actually.
Okay, just
Yes.
give me a minute, please.
Yes. So this is a very important thing to understand the context, how things are working with this. Now this is called unidentified risk. Is charging got less? So I asked him, okay, he can pick the charger. He messaged me. I need to pick the charger. So guys, this is how you should plan for the exam so far. The most important thing is people, agile, team, stakeholder communication. And master this thing, don't focus too much. I'm sure they were, since team was the most highlighted area, there was not much question on scope, schedule, cost. One of my student today, he said to me, sir, I am not doing good in cost and I am very much kind of low about that. So I told him, don't focus that much on the cost. Okay, the cost may be getting problem, the TCPI formula and things like that, but you don't need to focus. Sir, Bilal sir, what about scope, schedule, cost?
There wasn't any question related to cost. I was even a bit confused that what if there comes any formula-based question, would I be able to solve it or not?
I
And
told
luckily,
you,
there was
I told you no formula. Not luckily, it's a pattern, yaar. Not even
exactly.
explanation.
No, nothing like that. There was only one question related to the velocity of agile technique, but there isn't anything related to the numbers or the estimation technique or even the costing. Nothing like that.
Okay,
There
okay,
were a
got that.
questions. There were a couple of questions on the schedule, but
Any critical
I
path
remember.
question?
Sorry.
Any critical path question?
No, there isn't any critical path question even.
How many compliance questions were there?
There were a couple of compliance questions.
There were, because
When I
this is
say
a
couple of, it means like probably two to three questions, something like that.
still two to three is a good number of questions.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
about risk, quality, and procurement?
Procurement, like I mentioned earlier, there were questions. There were a couple of questions for the risks as well, and similarly for the quality as well.
Quality. Okay. Bilal sir, thank you for your time. Your final advice for PMP aspirants.
My advice would be that just follow the schedule that you give it to them, and just respond to your follow-up messages and your follow-up calls, because
So
I
how did you like that? Because a few of my students, I kind of hated it. Like they said that it's very bothering. You don't leave us. You ping us, even sometime at 4 a.m., sometime 2 p.m. So what do you think about those follow-up
no,
calls and
see, like a person like me, probably if you had not follow up me regularly on progress, I might have, you can say, I might have left it midway. And that's why I say that this is something very special that kept my morale up and kept me motivated that I have to do it. I have to respond, Amir. I have to make sure that I'm doing something. And eventually, it all led to the whole success.
so that continuous follow-up is the, you could say that that becomes the key of clearing the PMP exam in the minimum possible time.
Exactly. It is the key actually.
It is the
Because
key.
see, everyone just until and unless one is not clearly committed to this goal, anyone could be distracted into their routine life activities, maybe any other event in the life, and once you are detracked or off for a couple of days or a week, then it becomes challenging to make up the difference or make up the deficiency. So
Make
maybe
up the
it's not applicable for everyone, but for a person like me, I would say that that follow up worked a lot.
that follow-up for the Lord. Thank you, Bilal sir. Now, Bilal sir, as a final note, I always says that sharing is caring, and you are the first one. You are the first one to clear from your team. So, from your batch, I would say team. And when I say team, I mean by batch. So it's your job to push all your batch and take them with you. Like maybe have a swing with you that they can work
Mhm.
and they can clear the exam as you did. The second thing, the very important thing, once you go with the each one teach one, the second thing is that we want you to write PMP question, exam like question. I always
Right.
request to my students to write exam like questions, not the real exam, you cannot share that, exam
Mhm.
like questions, so that, and I would be keep on adding those question in the coaching calls. So those exam like questions are extremely important. Anyone wants to ask question from Bilal sir, we can put it in the chat box. You can ask question here. Question. And final thing, Bilal sir, you really worked very hard for last 1 month. Although it was only one month, but you really worked very hard in the last 1 month. So now is the time to relax a little bit, maybe take a little bit low, and at least for 1 week, then we'll start ACP. But at least for now, take a little bit low, enjoy the things, and work in that way. But before moving forward, were there any question on MBTI?
Sorry, on the NBTI?
MBTI, the survey of MBTI.
Uh, no, I don't remember. I didn't. I cannot recall there was any question on that one.
On that one. Thank you very much for this, Bilal sir, and thank you for your generosity with the time. I know today is a family day,
It's my
and
pleasure.
best of luck for future endeavors. And we'll be looking forward to record ACP journey very soon.
Yep, sure. And thank you very much, Amir. And I really, I'm thankful to your cooperation and your guidance and your follow-ups. I believe that we can make it more successful for the future endeavors. We'll
Sure,
make it together.
sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Assalam.
very much. Walaikum.